Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Chee-Tash. My name is Chris, and today we're going to be going over part two, getting through the day, going over chapter 5 of Look Out on Parenting here. I kind of said that a little bit out of order. Look, we're going over Look Out on Parenting here, The Survival Guide for the Single Parent by Ted Moss III. Part 2, chapter 5, The Pickup. There we go. That's the proper order. I was skipping around there. I did, if you guys have been following the series, you would know where the hell we were. But no, we were on chapter 5, getting through the day. If you guys remember, last time we talked about dropping off your kids. So naturally, what are we going to talk about today, you think? Today, we're going to be talking about picking up your kids. So last time, executing the perfect drop-off. What did we talk about last time? First things first, be with your kids until you're gone. So it's going to be easy, Ted says, and we're going to kind of talk about this today too. You work so hard to get out the door in a timely fashion that it's easy to just start going down your checklist of the next things that you have to do today. But what Ted says is, hey, let's slow our roll a little bit, because the moments that you have alone with your child in the car are moments where they can allow you to see how they see the world. And you get a better glimpse of who your child is. And maybe you connect with your child a little bit better too. And you strengthen that relationship. So, try not to go deep into your brain on what else you have to do today, but go into your kids' brain. Still be with your kids, if they're ask your kids to describe what they see out the window. That was kind of like a simple example that I think Ted talked about in the book. Just to get a glimpse of how they're thinking, what they're thinking about. And you're going to have plenty of time to do your own thinking once your kid is dropped off. So hang tight on that. Be with your kids until you're gone. Number 2, once you get to the place, like daycare is like the most obvious example, or like school, something like that. Don't make it a big deal. If you treat it like a big event, then your kids are going to see it as one. And something that I quoted in the blog post for this at Chee-Tash ghost.io. I'm sorry. We'll have it in the description, folks. Barry Sanders always used to say, when you get to the end zone, you act like you've been there before and like you're going there again. And you need to kind of convey this same thing to your kids. This isn't a big deal. This is something that's going to be happening repeatedly. There's no need to fuss about it, because I'll be back and we're going to do it all again multiple times this week, right? So we might as well get used to it now. So it's one thing to explain that, adult to adult, we can understand that. But with your kids are going to go more so based off of feeling, emotion, how you carry yourself. So you need to kind of carry yourself in a way that conveys all those things I just mentioned. So how do you do this? Well, don't be overly affectionate at the drop-off. Don't, it depends on it's going to depend on how you say goodbye too. Don't say goodbye like this isn't a permanent thing here. Instead, say see you later. And that's kind of what we talked about, and be consistent, short and sweet as well. But just convey that this isn't a big event. This isn't a big event, and I'm going to be back. Number 3, broaden your focus and theirs. So let's take the daycare example. I mean, we're in fall season right now. We're going to have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, Valentine's Day, just back to back to back. So the environment at the daycare center will probably change, right? It's probably things are going to change in the classroom or the daycare center depending on the holiday coming up, right? So when you're there with your child is going to pick up on the differences really quick. And you have to remember from Teddy's tips that we talked about, different doesn't mean bad, but you're going to have to kind of teach this to your child. Your child is going to automatically see something different and think, oh my God, this isn't the place. And maybe they might not think this, but they're going to, caveman brain might take over, lizard brain might take over, like, oh my God, I'm in a different place. Oh my God, what's happening? And they're going to cling to you for protection at that point. But what you need to do is, instead of just, hey, see ya, drop them off and then skedaddle right away, maybe if there is a huge change like that, point it out to them, ask them what they think about it. Don't hang out there for a long time, but take the time to appreciate the changes with them. It's going to help them with getting acclimated to the space, even though it's the same space, same daycare center. It's just changed a little bit. Number 4, again, like we mentioned before, be consistent, short, and sweet. You don't want to hang around too long. Just kind of, it's like a Band-Aid. Just rip it off. Just say, hey, see you later, buddy, and walk away. Don't even look back. Again, don't be overly affectionate. Convey that you're going to come back later. And that comes with just having the confidence and having that the stage presence, to conveying that to your child, just so they don't freak out. If you freak out, they'll freak out. So anyway, guys, today, the pickup. And what you're going to see with the pickup is it's really kind of like the drop-off in a way. I mean, it's a lot of these are the same points. It's just kind of like in reverse order, I guess, so to speak. So the first thing Ted has here is, what's up? Not, I missed you so badly. Same thing we were talking about with the drop-off. It's not a big event. So eliminate drama in the reunion, just like you did in the drop-off. And toddlers will mirror your behavior, so you need to set the tone. Set the tone as if you didn't miss them, even though you probably did, but give off that feeling like, again, this is just routine. We're going to be separated like this every day as long as school is in session, minus the summers. So this is going to be a regular thing where this isn't a huge event. This isn't a once-in-a-lifetime event. This is a everyday thing. So again, express your affection in moderation, else the next drop-off will be tougher, right? Because if you missed your child so much, well, they're going to miss you now every time you guys leave each other for this whatever amount. It's going to be tougher. What and how your toddler should behave at daycare/school/ wherever you drop them off at. Yes. I don't know what I meant by that bullet point. What and how you say. Yes, it is definitely what and how you say things. It's, again, why you should use what's up, not I missed you so badly, or oh my God, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was gone for that long. Things like that. Just, again, be consistent, short and sweet with it. What's up, bud? How was school? How was daycare? What'd you do? Simple. Short and sweet. So that's immediately once you get there. Now, once you get there, you have your greeting, simple, short, and sweet. Now take immediate interest in their accomplishments. Again, you go off and do your own thing. You're slaying your own dragons, right? Now, you come back to your child. Yeah, you might be proud of everything you accomplished in the time that you had, but it's going to be more important for the child to convey their accomplishments to you rather than you doing it to your toddler, vice versa, like that, It's going to confirm that their accomplishments have value. So when you're there and you do after the initial greeting, take a minute to review any work they did. Do it before you leave, but be mindful that, the daycare providers, teachers, etc., they have a life too. So you don't want to hang out there too long. And you don't want to just pick up your child and just leave right away. because I'm sure you're probably tired, which is true, but wait until you get home to unwind. Give your child the opportunity to share their story on what they did that day, because it's going to help them to have a passion. If they're super, super passionate about something, let them share it. It's going to give them even more passion about it. And this quote that you've probably heard a ton, like, oh, I can't wait to tell mom and dad. I definitely was like that. I couldn't wait to tell my mom and dad some stuff after like a day of school that we learned. Let them explain this to you. Let them convey their passions to you, because it's going to be important when they get older. You're gonna kind of want them to have some passions. You're going to want them to take an interest in things. Next, accent the positives, avoid the negatives. So put some faith in what your daycare provider, teacher, supervising adult has to say. So this is in regards to negatives. Your daycare provider might come up to you with some negative things that happened during the day. And the important thing is your daycare provider, what they tell you should kind of take precedence over what your toddler tells you. Because your toddler has an ulterior motive in not telling you certain things because they don't want to get punished. The daycare provider, it's not that same motive. They're going to kind of tell you things more direct and straight up, basically. It's not that your toddlers are going to mislead you. I mean, they kind of could. They kind of could. You could use this as a teachable moment, though, and just say, hey, we always tell the truth. But again, they just don't want to get punished from whatever negative thing happened at daycare. Maybe they were bullying somebody, or maybe they, got in a fight, something of that nature. Maybe they were rude. Just remember, everything starts with love. Remember Teddy's tips. Everything's out of love. So you're there to care for them regardless of what happened. So you should talk about the negatives, but be careful to discipline or do anything like that in public while you're at the daycare center, while you're in the pickup. Even not so much in the car either. Maybe use the car to accent the positives. Once you get back to the house, have a review of the negatives. And when you do that, you kind of have time to settle down on that car ride home, because maybe you're going to be a little upset yourself that your child got in trouble, or there was some negative feedback about your child. Gives you time to settle down and think a little bit more clearly on how you want to handle this situation. Again, everything's out of love. It's a teachable moment for your child. They have to learn that there's consequences for things. And they also have to learn that what was wrong at the time it happened, just because there was no discipline at the time of it happening, doesn't make it right, doesn't make it less wrong, still wrong. And the discipline, the consequences are going to come now. But don't forget about those positives. And again, like I said, maybe use the car ride to accent the positives, but at home, sandwich that negative in between a couple positives. 4, right? We're on 4. Give them time to say goodbye. So this is when you are at the daycare center, at the daycare provider, and you're picking up your toddler. Ted highlights here, it's not like grabbing a snack from the gas station. It's not like grab and go, like get in, get out. Because again, we've talked about this many times when going through Ted's book here. Adults are creatures of the clock. Kids are creatures of the present and more so environmental cues. So the adults look at the clock for passage of time. Kids look at environmental cues. So like, they could be playing in an area, then all of a sudden there's less kids in that area. They're going to pick up on that. They're going to pick up on the fact that, oh my gosh, time has moved forward. There's less kids here, versus like an adult would just look at their wristwatch. if I'm kind of making sense here to you guys. So your kids aren't going to realize how much time has passed throughout the day while they're at the daycare center. When they're having tons of fun, they're not going to be looking at the clock to see that you have arrived. They're going to equate time to leave not by 5 o'clock on the dot, but by your face. So sometimes when you arrive, it's going to be a little unexpected, and it might take them by surprise. So in one way, this is a good thing. It conveys that, hey, it's time to leave. Again, you don't want to hang out here for the rest of the night. You don't want to sleep here. As my parents would always say, we're not sleeping there. But here's where you want to give them time to say goodbye to their friends, say goodbye to their teacher. Again, like we mentioned a few slides ago, if they did any like work, any class projects, have them, kind of show you around a little bit. But again, not sleeping there. This is going to teach them, much like the same organizational skills that getting out the door on time, kind of introducing those organizational skills to them will kind of help them get better at just having things neat and tidy and be able to clean up around the house. This is going to teach them how to transition from one activity to another. So the activity of, hey, playing around, hanging out with your friends at daycare, to, hey, it's time to leave. And we don't throw a fit when we leave, because we're gonna do a transition tomorrow when I drop you off again. So lay the seeds, lay that foundation now for being able to not hang out in like one certain activity for an eternity, being able to move from different states to different states as life dictates. And the last point here, review on the ride home. So, again, talk about what your child did at daycare, at school, whatever. This is the time for open-ended questions. This is the time for no questions that elicit a yes or no answer. How, what kind of questions? Kind of opposite from what we talked about in chapter 2 of Getting Through the Day about getting breakfast ready. You don't want to ask open-ended questions. Give them choices, binary choices. But in here, it's okay. Let them explain. Let them kind of share with you what they did today. Let your toddler lead that conversation, wherever it may go. This is the time for that. Again, let your toddler bring you on a journey into their world. But now the one rule, couple rules, I guess, that Ted mentions is the content should always be positive. There shouldn't be any negative thoughts, and there shouldn't be any gossip. Any gossip that's spilled by your toddler, you kind of have to take it a little bit with a grain of salt. And you don't want to make judgments on any of the other kids or any of the other adults in the daycare center, at school, whatever may have you, just based on what your toddler says. Just kind of address it and then keep the conversation like going forward. So very smooth transition. Oh, that doesn't sound very nice. Or, oh, that doesn't sound very good. Oh, that stinks. And then kind of just move on from there. Again, don't smother the car ride with your problems. Don't come in there with any problems you've had during the day. And even kind of what we talked about before with, explaining like all the accomplishments that you had. Let your toddler have the floor with the accomplishments, but don't bring in any unnecessary negativity to the car ride. On the other hand, have a very positive attitude. Even if you have had a bad day, let them feed off of that positivity. Let them share with you what they did during that day. And I think they will really appreciate that, and it'll make them grow and increase their passion for things. Guys, that was it. That was the last slide. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you are checking out the blog a little bit. Next chapter we have is When We Get Home, chapter 6. And we're about halfway through this book, so we're moving along at a nice clip here. I'm going to include the blog link to it in the description. Let me know if you guys have any questions on this chapter, if you have any funny stories, things to share about parenting, your parenting style. Let us know in the comments section. And we'll be back again very, very soon. Again, thank you guys so much. My name is Chris. This has been Chee-Tash. Take care.